Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm officially back. I know I've had a long time off, but now hopefully we'll be getting weekly YouTubes. Just a little bit of an update if you don't follow me. On the gram, my new 4 weeks handstand intensive course is now available. So the link to that will be down at the bottom, or you'll see a nice little thing flashing at the top now. So the first class back is going to be a difficult one. It's going to be all about those who want to reach their middle splits. I have a follower called Alex who's been messaging me on Instagram and working towards their middle splits. So that's going to be what we're going to work on today. I'll warm you up gently, but what you will need for this, I can't get my words out today, is 2 blocks and a slider. If you don't have a slider, if you have carpet, you can have a disposable dinner plate, a magazine, or a blanket or something to put your foot on that will slide out. So that is it. Let's begin and start warming up, shall we? So we're going to start off on our knees. We're going to get into movement of the pelvis first. So come into 4-point kneeling or all fours position. Hands underneath shoulders, knees underneath the hips. Take an inhale, drop the belly, lift the chest, roll the shoulders. And then exhale, really curve through the spine, tuck the pelvis and round. Good, few more times like this, so just carrying on with the movement. And I really want you to accentuate the movement of the pelvis, right? So that tucking and untucking, that kind of lifting the sit bones up and then bringing the sit bones down towards the floor, because obviously we're going to be working a lot into our hips here. Perfect. I'm going to start with a few hip circles just to get us nice and moving here. We'll start with the right leg and then move on. So just come into a neutral spine. So spine nice and straight. Push the weight into the left knee. Take the right leg up towards the ceiling. So try and create a right angle. We're going to take the right knee all the way out and around to the right. Try and pull it towards the right elbow and then swing it back into the regular starting position. So as you do this, I want you to notice a few things. Notice where the movement's coming from. Are you isolating the movement in the top of that right leg, or are you leaning in towards the left side a little bit too much, right? So we want the movement to come from the femur bone, kind of just circulating in the hip socket rather than leaning to the left to try and get height. Doesn't matter how high it is, even if it's small circles. Let's switch the direction, bring it up towards the elbow first and around. We just want to make sure that we're actively just moving in towards the hip crease. Good. Give me one more in this direction. And then slowly bring the right knee back underneath the hip. Let's take it onto the left-hand side. And we're going to move from here. So left foot comes up, left knee out towards the side, left knee towards the left elbow, and then send it all the way back up. And again, we're trying not to bend into the right-hand side. We're trying to keep the pelvis in as much as a straight and neutral position as possible. Let's switch the directions. Bring the knee forward first, out and around. And again, just try and resist the urge to bend in towards that right elbow. Good. Give me one more. And then from here, we're going to move. So we're going to step the left foot outside of the left palm, come into a lizard lunge. So both hands inside of that left foot. Give yourself just a little bit of a rock, forwards and backwards. You can circle through the hips, so just checking in with that left leg, noticing how it feels. Perfect. And then next time you kind of sink into that left knee, I want you to hold it there. Hands can be on blocks or come onto your fingertips. Few cat-cow action. So moving with that movement of the pelvis again, we're going to inhale, drop the hips and look forward. Exhale, try and keep the chest where it is. Just think of rounding through the spine and pushing back. So it's like you're energizing the left heel towards the right knee. Few more. Inhale, looking forward, lengthening, dropping the hips. Exhale, that tuck in, that squeezing of the heel and the knee towards the midline of the mat. One more. Big breath in. Big breath out, tuck and release, good. And then inhale, come forward. What we're going to do here is pick up the right foot, turn the right foot to the midline of the mat, and then slowly rise on up. As you do, heel toe that left foot to the middle. Good, so we're tucking the pelvis under, which means we don't want any sexy butt sticking out behind you. So we're keeping core nice and caged, spine nice and lengthening. Now all we're going to do is keeping right knee pointing horizontally, left knee pointing vertical, keeping that tucking under of the pelvis. We're going to bend into the left leg, push through that left heel, Push through the heel to rise and come back through center. So you probably feel two things happening here. You're noticing the opening of the inside or even the turning on of the left glute, the leg that's in front. But then you'll also notice maybe a little bit of opening in that underside of that right thigh. Good. Give me just a few more. So nice and slow. Perfect. And again, we don't want to feel like we're sinking into any of these. We want to feel nice and engaged as well. Good. One more. We're going to bend into the left knee. Just hold it there. Try not to lean and dump the weight. Keep the weight on the pelvis. Again, you can energetically hug left ankle or heel in towards that right knee. Ooh, and you're going to feel that little bit of activation. Good. One more breath here. Nice. And then slowly bring the hands down wherever they are. Tuck the toes, turn towards the right hand side, lengthen the legs, come into a wide-legged forward fold. So feet parallel. First time in this position, so if you want to give yourself a little bit of a rock from side to side. Lean into the left leg, leaning into the right leg. Just moving into the pelvis a little bit, and then when you feel ready to hold, just bring the weight down. Let the upper body just fold over the lower body. Again, blocks can come here. And as we are moving into our middle splits, try as much as you can to lengthen out through the knees. Weight in towards the toes a little bit. And again, that rocking and forwards and backwards will just kind of tease into the intensity of this stretch. Good. Think of lengthening the upper body just as much as the back. Take one more breath. Exhale into the posture. And then from here, just bring the hands forward. Turn the toes out slightly. And we're going to begin to bend into each knee. So bend it into the right leg. Push to the outside of the right foot. Feel the lengthening on the inside of the left thigh. Come all the way up through center. And then bend in towards the left leg. So try and keep the hands planted. And as you move, try and keep that spine straight. And try and push to the outside of each foot. So every time you're sinking into these surfer squats, you want to feel like the knee is tracking in line with the toes. Good. Give me a few more rounds, maybe each time getting a little bit deeper in towards the stretch. Just again, teasing into that intensity. Perfect. One more. Make sure you've done both sides equally. And then we're going to slowly come all the way up. Soften the knees, rise to stand. Perfect. Our next one is toes are going to come in even more. So as parallel as you can. The more parallel the feet are in a line, obviously the harder balance is going to be. And it's going to be more intense. But pick a spot that's comfortable. Again, we want to tuck the pelvis under. You can bring one hand to the front of the pelvis, one hand to the back to keep it secure. Spine nice and straight. Take an inhale. As you exhale, bend the knees, track the knees in the line of the toes. Make sure the glutes aren't sticking out, but instead traveling all the way down towards the floor. I know, keep the activation of the knees pushing out, and then inhale to rise, nice and slow. A few more times. So it's like a goddess pulse or a goddess plie, sending it down low, pushing and rising all the way up. Oh, this feels juicy. A few more. So nice and slow. Again, we want that active push. So it's as if you're pushing the back of the thighs towards the space in the room behind you. Spine nice and straight. Good. Pelvis doesn't move. It stays tucked under throughout all of them. Nice. Give me one more. Nice and slow. Drop it down into that goddess squat. Hold it there. Spine straight. Knees pushing out. Knees pushing. Tracking in line with the toes. Breathe. Little bit lower, hold in for 5. I know. 4. I'm shaking 2. 3, 2, and 1. Push through the heels to rise. Come all the way up. Give the hips a little bit of a shake. And then we're going to turn towards the right leg and just repeat those first ones on the right. So turn towards the right. Drop the left knee. Come into that lizard lunge once more. So right foot's onto the outside of the mat. Give yourself a little bit of a shake, forwards and backwards, side to side. Checking in with that right hand side of the hip. And then next time you sink it down low, we're going to hold there and cat-cow with the spine. So again, you can have your blocks underneath your hands. Take an inhale, heart forward and lengthen. Exhale, push, round, energetically draw the right knee in towards the left knee. A few more times. Big breath in. Drop the hips, look forward, lengthening the left thigh. The exhale, the activation, as if you literally want to slide the mat in the center. One more. Big breath in. Big breath out, tucking it under. And then this time, as you inhale to release the hips, we're going to pick left foot up. Left foot drops to the middle of the mat, and we're going to slowly rise and walk that right foot all the way to center. Right knee pointing forward, left knee pointing horizontally across the mat. Again, that pelvis, we're tucking it under. Inhaling, and then exhale, sinking low in towards that right leg. And just give me a few pulses here. And again, trying to keep head, heart, pelvis in one line. Pushing into that right leg for stability. And for that kind of weight to come up, right? The strength to push us back and out of it. Last one, bend into the right knee, tuck the tailbone, hold and pause. If you want a little bit of an active stretch, that pulling of the right heel and the left knee in towards each other, breathe. Whew, this is a lot for 3, 2, and 1, perfect. Lengthen through the front leg, turn to the toes, let's come in, wide-legged forward fold once more. So feet come parallel. You want to think of hinging from the hips first. Belly button in between the thighs, come all the way low. If it's accessible and you're already there, you want to grab the outside of the ankles. To sink the head closer towards the floor, feel free. Small little movements, again, just to make the intensity a little bit more welcoming, right? So we're just visiting and leaning back out of that stretch. Taking one more breath. And then inhale. Look forward, lengthen the spine. So flatten the back. Turn the feet out 45 degrees. We're coming into those surfer squats once more. Bend into the right knee. Push to the outside of the right foot. Bring the hips back through center and switch it over towards the left. Good. So if you're feeling already warm enough, as you switch from side to side, maybe the opposite toes lift up towards the sky. Perfect. Keep it moving. Nice. So this first part is all just about opening and gently stretching into the places where we're going to hold a few more deeper stretch. Give me one more. So equal out the sides. Again, push into the outside of these feet, dropping in towards the hip bones. And then once you come up through center, slowly begin to rise, hands towards the hips. Goddess plies once more. This time we're going to go a little bit further. So again, tuck the pelvis under, heels as parallel they can be without falling like I just nearly did. Tuck the tailbone. Whew, good. Take a breath out. Can you tell I haven't trained middle splits for a while? We're going to slowly sink in towards our goddess pose. Now from here, something a little bit different. We're going to keep it low. We're going to pick up the right heel. Try and drop lower. Good. Bring the heel down. Pick up the left heel. As you do, keep tracking, keep pushing that knee back. A few more times each side. So just super nice and active. As we send in the knees towards the back, we want to feel as if we're pushing the pelvis towards the front. Breathe in here, keep it switching. We're going to go 2 more each side. Lift in the right, try and keep that squat low. Lift in the left. Good, this is a workout for sure. Right heel comes up, left heel rises. Drop low into the squat, and then slowly pull it all the way back up. Beautiful. Give the hips a little bit of a circle. Take a little bit of a break, and then join me for the deeper stretches on the floor. So as we come into the deeper stretches for our splits, we're going to be working pretty low towards the ground. First one is frog pose. You might be familiar with if you do yoga. So what we're going to do is bring the hands forward, bring the knees wide, and you want to turn each foot and toes out towards the side. So everything works into a right angle. So we turn the feet out, we spread the knees out wide, and we come down to a distance where we feel like, okay, now I feel it, right? So toes point out, ankles in line with knees in line with the hips. Now what we tend to do here is we like to lean forward because it gets a little bit easier. What I want you to do is walk the hands back to the spot where you're like, ow, I feel it. Again, hands can be on the block, but from this frog pose, you can come onto your elbows as well. We're going to contract and release. So push the knees into the ground. We're going to pull the knees in towards each other. You're going to find a little bit of a lift, I know. And then exhale, slide the knees out. Whew, it's the smallest of movements, but it's going to make a big difference. Inhale, pull the knees in towards each other. Keep that tailbone tucked. Exhale, send it out. 5 more times. Breathe in, pull them in as if you want the knees to touch, but they're not gonna. Exhale, send it out. If you feel like you get in a little bit more space, you can send the knees a little bit wider. 3 more times. Pull them in towards each other. Really squeeze, keep the tailbone tucked, I know. Send legs out and release. Whew, 2 more times. Pull the knees in. Good. Push the floor away. Even use the hands for the strength. Exhale, send it out. 1 more. Pull the knees in. Keep pulling, keep pulling. We're going to hold it for 10. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Release into the stretch. We're going to breathe. Maybe you're coming onto your elbows here. Maybe the knees can slide out a little bit more. But again, try not to lean forward. Try and keep the weight back. So pelvis in line with the knees and breathe. Whew. Good. Holding for 5. Deepen the breath. For 4. For 3. For 2. And 1. Slowly coming all the way back onto the hands. Coming out as gracefully or ungracefully as you can. Give the hips a little bit of a circle to release. Good. If you think that was bagged, wait till you see what's coming next. So what we're going to do is use our sliders a little bit here. Maybe bringing the mat halfway, just so I can demonstrate a little bit more to you. We're going to do half frogs with a slide-in split. So again, you can have your blocks handy if you need them for support. We're going to bring the feet onto the slider. And now the leg that you're standing on, which will be my right leg, we are going to do both sides, so don't worry, is going to be in that position that we've just took on our frog pose. So we're going to bring it down low. We're going to open the right knee out to the right and take the right toes towards the wall. Good. Foot's on the slider. Make sure the foot is going to slide out in line with the hips. And all we're going to do is pull the foot in towards you on the breath in. As you breathe out, push the left foot away from you in line with the hips. Come as low as you can. Now let the initiation of the slide back in come from digging the foot down, pull the hips up high. Good. 4 more times, slowly. Sinking it all the way down, bringing it low. And then inhale to pull it all the way up. A few more. Dropping it down. Sending it low. Keep that foot nice and firm with the slider. Toes are pointing forward. Good. 2 more times. Sliding it out into that intensity. Pulling it all the way back in. Last one. We're going to slide out and hold. Maybe the hands walk towards the left a little bit. Maybe they don't. Whew, breathe. Now here, notice my toes are pointing out towards the side. Try and keep them forward so we're coming into the inside of the leg. Try and push the hips back. See if you can go a little bit lower. Breathe. For 5. I know. For 4. For 3. 2. And 1. Push into the floor. Pull it all the way back in. Give the leg a little bit of a shake. Ooh. Nice. Juicy, right? So, one side's done. We must now obviously go onto the opposite side. So we're going to bring stability on the left leg and we're sliding out through that right leg. So just like before, again, if you have problems with the knees, you can pad it with the mat. No issues. Left foot's coming onto the slider and extending. And that right foot is in that half frog pose. I'm making a mess here. You can tell I'm out of practice, right? Left foot extends out. Toes point to the left. Make sure that right foot is going to be in line with the left knee as it slides out. Take a breath in. As you breathe out, slide the foot out, come low. Push through that right foot to slowly bring it into center. Good. Few more times. Again, your hands can be on blocks. Send it all the way out. And then pulling it all the way back in. 3 more. Nice and slow. We're sliding, we're finding that length, finding that intensity, and then pulling it all the way back in. Really push through that left knee as well. It's gonna help. 2 more. God, I'm so sweating. Last one, pull it in. As you slide that right leg out, bringing it down low, try and push the pinky edge towards the floor. Sink low. Notice if you're coming in towards the back bend a little bit, tuck the tailbone under, breathe. Holding it there for 5. For 4, I know. For 3, you can come onto your elbows if you're pretty low. For 2, and 1. Good. Push into the palms. Bring it all the way back up and in. Give the legs a little bit of a shake, a little bit of a shimmy. So now we've stretched into the legs a little bit. Now it's party time. So coming into full expression of the middles. Release through the mat if you've kind of folded it up like me. And we're going to bring our blocks out in front of us. So my mat's not that slippy, thank you, Gym Pro. Blocks come out in front of us. Now again, tendency here is we're going to want to lean forward. Now what I want you to do is lean back. Try and keep the knees straight as possible so we're not kind of jamming into the knee joint. And then as slow as you can, begin to slide the feet, if you can, all the way out. So again, the blocks are there just to help us to keep that alignment of the hips and the ankles in one line, and then slowly begin to lower. So find that comfortable spot where it feels a little bit of uncomfortable, but not too much. Good. And we're going to breathe and hold here. So the lower you go, obviously the more intense it is. Again, we're trying to lean back. We're trying to keep the chest lifted, and we're trying to take that kind of booty pop out of it, right? Breathe. Hold in. Breathe in for 5. For 4. For 3. For 2. 1 more breath. And 1. Nice. Not bad for someone who hasn't trained them for a while. Sink the glutes back. Woo. Breathe. Give yourself a little bit of a shake. I like windmills after this, so just traveling from internal and external rotation. Let them have a little bit of a release there. If you want to come into maybe that last stretch 1 more times, just to feel a little bit more depth, feel free. But there is your quick middle splits kind of routine stretches. Again, it's important to listen to our body. If you really are working on middle splits, maybe do this 3 times a week. But every time that you come into it, just give yourself time, right? That's the biggest thing. It took me 4 years to open up into my splits, especially my middle ones. So be gentle with them. And I'll see you all soon.